Well, y'all, we got a lot to talk about today. It is me here, TB at SMB, coming at you. We got a big old speech today from JPow, and it did not disappoint. We're going to talk all about that, what exactly he got into, how the market reacted. It was a very insane day in the market, and has furthered my bullishness even more, which is hard to believe because it's hard to get much more bullish than I am at this very moment. But today, S&P 500, we closed up about 1.25% at the highest. We had a high wake up here. I mean, we were heading for closing at the very highs today, but we got a big red dingus right at the end of the day. So it was almost 1.5% kind of day, but S&P up big, Nasdaq up massive. Huge volume all around. If you look at the daily, here daily on the S&P, you can see that volume down there. Huge volume. Looking at the Nasdaq, big old volume on the Nasdaq. Exactly what I told you all to expect. When you see this selling volume and it is this low and this indecisive, you just have to expect this is just a small dip in our greater trend, which is to the upside. And obviously today proved that. We had just crazy bullish price action, but very choppy up until Powell comes out. Powell comes out and he kind of just starts talking about the exact same stuff he said the FOMC. Very important. He was asked about this jobs report that came out on Friday of last week, which was 2 days after that FOMC report that came out. It was crazy, way different than everyone expected, way more jobs added over the month of January. Unemployment dropped. He was asked, hey, if you saw that before the meeting, would you guys have changed your tone at all? Would you guys have gone more aggressive? And he basically brushed that off, which was massively bullish at the time. The market went straight up. And then we run straight up to the supply zone on the Nasdaq. You can see this big old supply zone we got right here. Sellers are waiting. We run up there and sellers step in massively. And we sell off like crazy on the Nasdaq. I mean, you look at these. You look at this half an hour candle. Look at that. Straight up 1.5%, straight back down 1.5%. And then what do? This is very important. This key pivot point I've been telling you guys about on the Nasdaq. That's exactly where we came down to. Right there, right at 303. I've been telling you guys about 303 is the level to hold. And sure enough, where did we go? We go right smack dab, right down to 303. We tweezer bottom here, big old wicks, and the buyers step in. Not crazy volume, but very high solid volume was bought. That dip was just bought massively. And not only did we close above it, we just kind of ripped even higher and higher, and we closed above it. And now it looks like we're pulling back a little bit after hours. I think Chipotle had some rough earnings. It is down after hours. Enphase had fantastic earnings. They destroyed everything. They were up 12% after hours. Holy moly. So, looking at the S&P 500, let's check out the S&P 500. Same thing on the S&P 500. I told y'all about this level, 4090, or if you're looking at SPY, it's 408. Huge level to hold, and sure enough, that was your buy signal when we got yanked down and we bounced right off of that on convincing volume. That was massive. So now you can see where we have this. If you look at where these candles close on the 15-minute, I don't really look at the wicks. I'm looking at the 15-minute. You can see where these candles close. They close right above these levels, just barely. One candle closed, then right back above it. One candle closed, right back above it. We got a bit of a triple bottom looking here on the S&P. Sure enough, third bounce, we just go sending, and we broke this downtrend line, and you see where this was a fake out. I almost went crazy calls right here, but I said, hey, patience. When Powell speaks, the market does crazy things, and sure enough, it did not disappoint. We sold straight off, just straight down on the S&P. Things were looking terrible. I was about to be making a video talking about, God, we tried to break out of this little consolidation. We tried to break this yellow line downtrend, and we just dumped straight down. But then I waited. We got our buy signal. We crossed above that green line. So we also got a buy signal here. But I waited because I say, hey, one green buy signal, one green candle closing above that is not enough. I need to see another one. And sure enough, I was patient and rewarded. And then what happens? We close one, second one, wicks down to it over here, and we close above it, and the rest is history. We go just screaming to the upside. So, full transparency, I am in some Apple calls, some S&P 500 calls. I'm still holding Square. Square, kind of a sideways choppy day, kind of to be expected on Square. I think it is going to wait for PayPal's earnings, which come out over here on Thursday, because that is obviously big sympathy In the fintech space, PayPal is kind of top dog. So I think it's going to wait, but it's holding down. It's holding down this line. We haven't broken below that. Solid volume today. It got bought up, but support is obviously at $80.36. And we haven't even retested that. So I'm not worried at all about Squarespace. Why do I always say Squarespace? About Block Incorporated. Not worried about that. If we look over at Datadog has an immaculate setup. And this isn't a stock that's commonly traded. It's not the most liquid stock, especially when it comes to options. But one thing I noticed on Datadog that just looked absolutely fantastic was Datadog, we rip up, we hit our resistance up here, try to retake resistance, reject, we dump down, and then we keep dumping. And what do you notice here? What does this line tell us here? So it is clear we have found a support around this level down here at $76. We found support, and now this is resistance. So, hey, we gap down again. I mean, it was just gapping down. We gap down, we rip up to this level at $79.50, reject, rip up to $79.50, reject, come down and make an even lower low. But, hey, what happens over here? We come up to $79.50, and we reject. This was today after Powell was done speaking. We reject. And then what happens? We dip like the rest of the market, we rip up, and we retake that level, which is massive, and you can see exactly where the buyers stepped in. Look at the volume. Look at the volume down there. Where do the sellers or buyers step in? Right there, right as soon as we break that level. So we have broken that resistance, and it is just a picture-perfect setup. I mean, that was such a insane bullish setup, and I expect follow-through on this on Datadog. Absolute follow-through. No doubt in my mind on this. I mean, it didn't even have like a clear trend line. I mean, maybe not even that. It didn't really even have a clear trend line. But that was just fantastic. And then why not throw in a little bit of a, I mean, this was just too easy. Throw in a little inverse head and shoulders right there too. Shoulder, head, shoulder with a neckline as that key resistance point that I was talking about. Datadog looks phenomenal to the upside. Phenomenal. Just perfect to the upside. And then let's look at SoFi. SoFi, just super choppy. Again, just really not a whole lot going on. What the hell? What is that on my screen? Get off of my screen. I mean, we broke above this downtrend, just like the market day. This downtrend on this like pretty standard like bull flag that we're holding right here. Yeah, wow, that is like picture perfect. SoFi actually looks right to the upside. So we broke out, faked out, come back down to the bottom of this trend line, and we bounce off of that. And now SoFi just really has to reclaim 750. It's just like Datadog. You look back, where were we rejecting? And you can see clearly we were rejecting this level right here. Rejected. So 750 above that on SoFi looks great. It still looks good, but this daily is a little wonky looking, but it just has so much room to the upside. Clearly, this is the massive level to retake on SoFi, 850. This is the highest it has been in a minute. And, wow, yeah, that's the highest it got back in August. So retaking that on SoFi would be absolutely huge. Apple. Apple is just, what can you say about Apple? They come out with horrendous earnings, and what happens? Look at these. Look at this daily on Apple. I mean, have you ever seen something so beautiful right now? Like, are you serious? Look at this. Just crazy. It rips in a little pullback down 2%, and followed by an immediate green day. This green candle just ate this entire red candle. It might as well just, it's gone. Just Apple looks phenomenal to the upside. Yeah, there's really just not much else to say. Same thing. We had a downtrend. We broke it out. So now Apple, this level right here is massive, 155.08 on Apple. Break above that, and I like Apple to start searching for newer highs up here. Got to get above 157.60. This right here on Apple could not be clearer. This huge, monstrous supply zone where the sellers have just been sitting here for so long. They've been sitting here back since September. So we get up into there, and Apple's going to start doing some crazy stuff. This range right here is not super liquid, especially when you get above 164. This is a super illiquid part right here. This is such an illiquid spot on Apple that once we start to go up there, I suspect we will make a very quick move on Apple, straight through that, just like I was talking about on AMD. And now AMD also just looks fantastic to the upside. Super illiquid region right here that AMD is rejected, and now it looks like it wants to go for that. And all these stocks are just doing exactly what they've been doing. If you look at AMD, pull back about 6%. We pull back about 7%. And now pulled back about 7.5%, and it looks like we're going for that next push up on AMD off the back of very strong volume on the hourly. NVIDIA, I mean, the FOMO I got from NVIDIA is intense, and I still feel it, but I'm in some pretty good setups, so I'm not, like, screaming at myself. But, like, yeah, obviously, if I could go back, I would have bought, put the whole house on NVIDIA at 140. No one saw this coming on NVIDIA, but NVIDIA is just unstoppable right now. I mean, it's leading the entire semiconductor market on just insane volume. Look at this. Look at these green candles down here, man. This volume is bonkers on NVIDIA. Who knows when it's going to stop? No, I suspect it will find resistance at 227.82. No doubt. 227. Let's just call it that. 227. It's going to find resistance there because you can see sellers have held this for so long. They didn't let NVIDIA get back up there. But once we do take that level, 227, we mount that level, we can see, just like AMD, a crazy, because this is such an illiquid. Look how quickly it took us 3 days to get through this range, and then on the downside, 3 days to go back down it. Hey, it could take another 3 days to go straight through it from 227 straight to 260. Why not? Anything's possible right now with NVIDIA. It's absolutely unstoppable. So, but I warn you, it will not just go straight through 227. There's just no way. There's no way. Bears are going to try to hold that. But you can see that NVIDIA is just, it's a star. I mean, bull flag breakout, just it's crazy. It's just too easy right now. It's absurd. I don't know why I'm not trading it. I couldn't tell you. But holy crap. Perfect bull flag, broke out of it, and it just went straight up. So there you go for NVIDIA. Congrats if you have NVIDIA. Have I talked about the Nasdaq? I mean, Nasdaq is basically... It's perfect. It's the perfect setup on Nasdaq, really. I mean, it's the perfect bullish continuation pattern right now. Where you find support is so important on these pullbacks. And sure enough, look at this key pivot point. This key pivot point. Sure enough, look at that. Look back here in June where we consolidated. We held this level at 303 for so long. The second we broke it, we dumped. Same thing over here. Look at this. 303, pull back, we bounce a little bit. Oh, no, we dump. And then, oh, yep, over here, look, this rally. Oh, we broke 303. Where do we dump? Right past 303. The second we pass 303, we just hemorrhage, go crazy. And now, very important, where have we pulled back? If we zoom back in on the Nasdaq. Oh, Christ. Where have we pulled back now on the Nasdaq? 3 times to 303. We've wicked down to 303 thrice now on the Nasdaq. Incredible. Just incredible. I mean, there's nothing else you can say. It's just, I don't know. If you're trying to buy puts right now, you're absolutely out of your freaking mind, bro. Like, literally. I don't even know what to tell you. If you're trying to get puts on this, you are absolutely just out of your mind. I don't get it. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the bear case is right now, besides like long-term stuff that inflation won't continue to go down. One thing that is really piquing my interest, we have to look at bond yields. Bond yields give you a good story. Bond yields have just been going crazy since Friday, since that unemployment data. And that's kind of what Powell talked about. He said, hey, the market's already tightened itself. The bond yields have already gone up off of that. You know, so he kind of just whisks that away. He's like, yeah, bond yields went up. So the market is like pricing this stuff in. It's not like, it's just crazy. So it looks like bonds are going to start sending up, which is scary. Bond yields going up is never good. That's where the market bottomed over here in October, back when bond yields, the 10-year was over here at like 4.2%, 420 every day. So if we start going back to 4% on the 10-year, I'm a little worried. And that's something I'm watching very closely. That's really the only thing I'm scared of right now. Oil has bounced, but it's still low. It's not going crazy. The VIX is just doing exactly what you want to see the VIX do. On these green days, it's just going down. The VIX just cannot break 20. It can't. It touches 20, rejects it. Touches 20, rejects it. It barely broke 20 over here, and 20 is the level to watch on the VIX, and it just can't. It can't overcome it. So it's looking great. The dollar. Now bears were screaming about the dollar. They were like, "Yep, it's the dollar. The dollar is getting too strong again." It's like, really? The dollar got back to where it was at the start of the year, and now look what it's doing. It's going back down. Like, the dollar is a non-factor right now. Unless it starts going crazy back up here to like 109, it's just a non-factor. It's worth watching. It's a non-factor to me. So if that's your bearish case, is the dollar, then give your head a shake, man. Come on. Are you serious, bro? I mean, semis all across the board are just... Amazon is the weakest name right now in the market, but really, it still looks good to the upside, honestly. I wouldn't take it long. I think there are much, much better setups out there right now, like Apple and Google and Microsoft. But if you're looking to buy a solid dip, Amazon has dipped about 10%, while the rest of the market has kind of been going up. So if that's your logic, is just buying dips right now, then I understand. And Amazon actually does look like it has a sort of solid looking setup right now. That I zoom in, you can see this pivot point right here. Bounce off of that, bounce off of it, lose it, retest it, and now we reclaimed it, and it looks like we're breaking our downtrend. So actually, Amazon does look pretty goddamn good to the upside. What the hell? Everything looks great to the upside. I don't know what to say. Microsoft looks immensely perfect, absolutely insane to the upside. We've finally broken its downtrend on the year. Finally, we've mounted the 200-day moving average. We've taken out this recent high. We found support here, massive support at 254. Or 255 basically. If you just look around at everything, it's exactly what I told you I wanted to see. This past resistance has flipped, and now it's support, just everywhere. It's just done that everywhere. I mean, it's just crazy. It just is nuts. So everything looks great. It went bonkers today. It has some AI news. Yeah, Google also looks right to the upside. Like, what am I supposed to say here? What am I supposed to say? Everything looks good to the upside. Google with a big old gap to the upside. So this here on Google will be massive to retake this zone. Big gap. And then right above that, we have another just massive supply zone way up here. These are going to be big levels, but this is another kind of illiquid spot where if you break above 112, it can quickly send up to 118 on Google. Shit. Just, wow. I don't know. Anyways, I'd ask you all to consider dropping a like and a sub, hit the bell for notifications, drop a comment if you guys are seeing something I'm not seeing. But I just come on here to kind of educate, kind of give you an unbiased look at things. Obviously, my bias right now is bullish, but that's because I look at the picture on my screen and it is clear. If you give a 5-year-old a marker and you say, draw which way the stock market is going right now, they would look at this and draw up. So just simplify. Don't make things so complicated. Things don't have to be complicated when it comes to trading. It can be very easy. And it becomes very complicated when you're trying to fight the trend. You're trying to flip the chart over and like look at these levels and look where we rejected. But if you just keep it simple. You don't go, hey, my thesis right here is that we're going to go down because this is what Powell said last time. And if you do all that shit, you're just going to get your head wrapped up and it ain't going to be good. So keep things simple. Look at what the chart is telling you. It's so obvious what the chart is telling us right now. Just do not overthink it. I know things are still bad. Inflation's still high. But right now, you cannot ignore what the chart tells you. It's just that simple. I'm just going to say that every single video from now on. I'm ready to get bearish. I say that too. I'm ready to get bearish. Hey, I'm ready to go short the second the market tells me it wants to go down. But right now, the market is only telling me upside. So I suggest you try to do the same thing. I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. Why the hell would you listen to me? I'm just some guy trying to educate. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Get some calls. Think about getting calls. Not a financial advice. That's not financial advice. But yeah, things look good to the upside. So thank you for watching, everyone. I will see you tomorrow.